have 2 minutes.
The Hoffman Arthritis Institute.
After this commercial, you've got 1:15.
Regional Medical Center provide the most precise surgical treatments for hip, knee, and shoulder. Schedule an appointment today by calling 801-35-JOINT or go to jointreplacementutah.com.
It's springtime on the Wasatch Front, and your local Utah Toyota dealer is having their once-a-year spring clearance event. Right now, get great lease deals, low APRs, and incredible cashback offers on all your favorite Toyotas, like 0% APR financing with $1,667 per thousand borrowed on a new 2013 Camry or Corolla, or $1,000 cash back on a new 2012 Prius Liftback or new 2013 Venza. Plus, take advantage of our huge inventory of SUVs and trucks like Tundra, Tacoma, and 4Runners. So hurry in today. This spring clearance event ends soon. To learn more, visit your local Utah Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Financing on approved credit from Toyota Financial Services. Cashback savings from Toyota Motor Sales. Excludes Camry Hybrid. Does not include college grad or military rebate. Does not include dealer fees. Offers may vary by region. See participating dealer for details. Offers end 4/30/13.
Visit your Utah Toyota dealer, or for more information, please log on to toyota.com. Toyota.
Join the Bill and Hans Show and Invigorate from 2 to 6 on April 23rd at Gold's Gym across from University Mall in Orem. Lab technicians will be there if you want to check your levels. Everyone who wants to get their blood drawn, you'll get a pair of movie tickets. We'll see you there.
All right, guys, here we go.
You're listening to On Frame, the Soccer Insider Show. To join the program, call 877-353-0700. Now back to the boys on ESPN 700.
Welcome back in. James Russ, Brian Dunset, Trey Fitzgerald. On Frame, special edition as it's game day for Real Salt Lake. Exhibition matchup with Phoenix FC of USL Pro, and as I've been mentioning, this is a game that will count against the standings and the record of Real Salt Lake's reserves, as will it count against the record of Phoenix FC. So a game to be taken seriously by both sides. And guys, let's kind of look at the lineups for both sides. We'll give you as much information as we can about this Phoenix group. Not a ton out there, but we'll pass along what we do know. But Dunny, let's start with Real Salt Lake. We've been mentioning it, teasing it a little bit throughout the broadcast, that if you're coming down to the game tonight, it's not going to be unfamiliar names that you're seeing. These are going to be guys that you're used to seeing with the first group with Real Salt Lake. In fact, Dunny, take us through the starting lineup tonight for RSL.
Yeah, RSL fans will get a good look at Lalo Fernandez in goal, Abdoulaye Mansali, Carlos Salcedo, Kwame Watson-Siriboe, and Chris Wingert left to right across the back line. So Chris Wingert will tonight start at right back. Enzo Martinez will hold in that Kyle Beckerman position. Kari Stevenson, John Sturzer will play on the outside of the diamond. Sebastian Velasquez will pull the strings in that Javier Morales mold. And then João Plata up top alongside Robbie Finley.
Now, Dunny, before we get on to Phoenix FC, with this lineup, as you mentioned, Sebastian Velasquez at the top of the diamond for Jeff Cassar tonight. What are you looking to see from specific guys? Maybe pick out a couple guys and what you're expecting to see from them tonight.
So for Lalo Fernandez, obviously it's keeping the ball at the back of the net.
Right.
But I want to see communication. I want to see leadership. I want to see him from a tactical and organizational standpoint sorting out what's in front of him, giving that good information, not just yelling. I want to see Kwame Watson-Siriboe really lead this back line the same way that he led BYU, but emotionally not get too invested, be a little bit more cerebral this match. Chris Wingert, I want to see him getting up and down the flank. I want to see his work rate and his fitness level really utilizing this to get him back into sharpness, to be in contention for that starting 11. Enzo Martinez, this is another big opportunity for Enzo Martinez because now his competition isn't just Kyle Beckerman, it's really Yordani Alvarez. And for Enzo, this is his year. Because if he comes off Generation Adidas, it's going to be an expensive player, expensive tag. So he needs to make the most of these opportunities. Sturzer as a draft pick, a #1 pick for RSL, coming out of University of Maryland, another opportunity to continue to push, not just for that 18-man roster, but be a player coming off the bench for Jason Christ in the immediate future. Sebastian Velasquez, this is his chance to really take hold of this team, really be the engine of this group. And then up top, I really want to see the relationship of João Plata and Robbie Finley. Because of their pace, they're going to come up against a physical group of defenders that are going to look to hit them early. Can they keep possession? Can they utilize that strength, separate the ball from the defender, get their bodies and take a hard knock, but combine and look to play off. That interchanging between the two, and then the secondary runs coming out of the midfield. Those are just a few of the things that I'm looking for tonight from this group.
Now, Trey, when you break it down into RSL reserve, so to speak, and then the first team, Real Salt Lake, give RSL fans, and I know the diehards are probably familiar with it, with just about everybody, but maybe those fringe fans, that give them an idea of just a couple names that are knocking on the door of getting in the 18. Maybe tonight's the night where they can showcase something and crack that door.
Yeah, I think the guys that have the biggest opportunity tonight is an Enzo Martinez, who I know Dunny just referenced, John Sturzer. He's been inconsistent, and like Garth says ad nauseum, the only thing consistent about young players is their inconsistency. So, you try to even out that roller coaster ride a little bit for the young guys. The guy that I'm going to be watching most closely tonight is the center back Salcedo, because Carlos did really well with us preseason last year. Played, 4 or 5 months in our academy, came up here, trained with us the last several months of the season. He's 19 years old, tore it up in preseason this year, Desert Diamond Cup, and in the reserve game against Colorado on our home opener on March 16th, gets a concussion in that reserve game. So that set him back a little bit, but his skill on the ball for a young center back is very, very exciting. And look, I love all of our center backs. You've got Nat, you've got Schuler now stepping up. Kwame's done very, very well. Aaron Mond is kind of the speed option, and then Salcedo at 19, his skill on the ball. Those are the guys that I think are going to come out tonight and have a chance to impress Jason.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Carlos Salcedo, the one thing to keep in mind for him as an 18-year-old, he trained with this group for a long, long time, an extended stretch. But what he learned in a short amount of time was it wasn't just his performance at practice that dictated his opportunity, but it was his work rate off the field and how he really went about being a professional player. He came in trim, lean, and I was very, very impressed with what I saw in preseason. I think in the next couple of years, he's going to be a player that is going to continue to knock on the door and hopefully have that same type of effect we've seen from Chris Schuler over the past 3 seasons.
All right, real quick, give us the names, the starting lineup for Phoenix FC before we get to break.
Yeah, Andrew Weber, he was with Real Salt Lake in the preseason, former Seattle Sounders and San Jose Earthquakes. He's in goal. It'll go Netinho, Cyprian Hendrick, who was at Sporting Kansas City, Renan Felipe, Danny Toya, the first homegrown player signed by Real Salt Lake, and then Jorge Ramos, Scott Morrison, Anthony Obadai, Diego Faria, and then up top, Travis Bowen, who is Tristan Bowen's older brother, spent some time with the Seattle Sounders in preseason, and then Aaron King. A very diverse group of players, still getting to know each other, and this is the first season this group has been playing in USL Pro, so some bright talents. They've gone out and spent some money and have dug deep to find some impact players.
They're a team, it's still early in the USL Pro season. 1-3-0 are the Phoenix FC Wolves, coming off of back-to-back losses. Their lone win back on March the 30th, 1-0 versus Tampa Bay. We're going to hop out to a quick break as they're getting set for the national anthem here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Coming up on the other side, we will have the game call for you between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC right here on ESPN 700.
Hi, Paul James here.
I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
No, don't do it.
The winter is
Piss in your pants. Piss in your pants.
I'm about going to.
projects. Did you ever wonder during the winter if your roof would survive and withstand the heavy amount of snow? Well, if you had thoughts like that, you need to think about getting a metal roof from Metal Mart in Lehigh. Not only do they look great, but talk about low maintenance and long-lasting ability. Wouldn't it be nice to have a roof that you didn't have to worry about with every snowstorm wondering if it would come crashing in on you? Metal roofing is the only alternative. With many styles and colors available, you'll love how easy it is to install yourself, saving you thousands of dollars. Stop in for a free estimate. With the measurement of your roof, Metal Mart roofing professionals can get you everything you need to make your roof last. Many colors are in stock right now at Metal Mart. They're ready to pick up. Metal Mart also stocks a full line of galvanized B-deck and W-deck for all your decking needs. Call for a free catalog or stop in and see us at 85 South, 1350 East in Lehigh. That's Metal Mart. 800-947-0249.
If you're craving pizza, Big Daddy's Pizza has a location near you. With 9 locations in Utah, they've got you covered during the day, and they deliver all night. Big Daddy's Pizza has what you're craving, from ready-to-go pizzas to side items. They've got the ability to deliver anywhere in the valley. Right now, try their 26-inch Granddaddy Pizza and feed the entire office or family for only $22.99. Place your order, go to BigDaddy'sPizza.com and find a location near you.
Ever hear a gym advertise what you won't get when you sign up? Well, right now at Planet Fitness, for just $10 down and $10 a month, you'll get no lunks. You'll also get no critics, no egos, no hassles, and no gimmicks. What you will get is a clean, comfortable environment with tons of the latest equipment in our judgment-free zone. With unlimited training, a friendly staff, and no lunks. Join at your local club or online at www.planetfitness.com. But hurry, sale ends tomorrow at midnight.
This is the home of RSL Soccer, KALL North Salt Lake City, ESPN 700.
All right, I'm back to you guys in a minute.
With At Home Realty. Over the years, I've helped hundreds of families get into their first home, and I live right here in Utah. The definition of insanity is riding that rank shaft month after month without exploring your home ownership options. There will never be a better time to own than right now. Call me now at 1-877-BRENT-41. With interest rates at record lows and plenty of great homes to choose from, give me 10 minutes and it could change your life. Don't assume you won't qualify. Don't let lack of down payment hold you back. Call me. I have access to some great new no-down programs. So if you've been told no, let's take another look at the situation. Call me at 1-877-BRENT-41 and let's get started. I will guide you every step of the way. Hey, there's no obligation to explore your options, so call me at 1-877-BRENT-41 and let's find your new home. Remember, don't rent, talk to Brent. Why rent when you can own? Don't write another rent check. Live the dream.
Did you say Zhao?
Zhao Plata.
Here we go, guys.
I like those jerseys.
You guys are up.
And welcome back inside Rio Tinto Stadium. James Rust, Brian Dunseth, and Trey Fitzgerald. We're just about set for action between Real Salt Lake and the Phoenix FC Wolves. And Dunny, you mentioned you like the jerseys. It's not exactly what I was expecting to see from Phoenix FC.
What do you mean?
Well, I thought
you were thinking red and black?
I was thinking some sort of red and black. We've got the neon yellow, neon green uniforms tonight for Phoenix FC. But the one positive, the black numbers.
You can see the numbers tonight.
Beautifully.
Yeah.
They stand out beautifully.
Unlike BYU, you couldn't see the stripes with the goal. Tonight it's very, very clear.
Exactly. Real Salt Lake in their typical home uniforms, claret and cobalt. They will travel left to right, as you'll hear it on your radio dial, with Phoenix FC going right to left. And we're about set for kickoff. What are we expecting to see, gentlemen, here early on for Real Salt Lake to kind of set the tone, maybe?
Well, I think what they'll have to do is kind of weather the storm. Despite being at home and being the team that absolutely should win tonight and win comfortably, I think this is going to be a Phoenix FC team that's going to be excited by playing in a Major League Soccer stadium, excited in this type of crowd, and an amazing turnout here at Rio Tinto, and I think they're going to throw everything forward. But Aaron King and Travis Bowen, two very, very athletic strikers. It's going to be a difficult task for the back line tonight.
And we're underway with Phoenix FC with possession, trying to play it up top to Bowen. It's broken up there. Real Salt Lake with possession. They'll go far side. Abdoulaye Mansali gets it now into the middle to João Plata.
We talked about important games for players. Abdoulaye Mansali, this is a big game for him, knowing that Lavelle Palmer has started back-to-back matches at left back, as well as recognizing that Chris Wingert is well on his way to recovery and pushing. So for Abdoulaye Mansali, he started off very, very strong, had that left back position locked down, played, for me, his best game against the Seattle Sounders after coming back from international duty, and then really struggled in his next match, and that's what it's all about. It's about consistency. So a big night needed from Abdoulaye Mansali.
Real Salt Lake still with possession in their own half. They play it back to Fernandez. He now goes out wide to Salcedo. The wind is blowing quite strong as the flags are going from the north to the south, left to right. So wind at the back of Real Salt Lake. We'll see if that comes into effect down on the pitch as the Wolves gain possession, but the pass broken up by Robbie Finley. Kari Stevenson goes to the ground to win it. And RSL has possession until it's broken up there.
One of the things we
by
need to
Danny
talk
Toya.
about, James, also is the roles that veteran guys like Kari Stevenson, we've talked about Wingert, Robbie Finley, the experienced guys, what role are they playing to set the tone for the younger kids in this match?
Finley with it down in the corner, plays it back to Chris Wingert, looking to get action into the box. Sends it back to Enzo Martinez. They'll now try the left side, Abdoulaye Mensali. Ooh. Sturzer, hard tackle in from Phoenix. RSL keeps possession. Sebastian Velasquez knocked off the ball there. Nicely done by Phoenix to win it and get it out of their own half, but quickly broken up by Real Salt Lake.
Sturzer still down. Our good friend Tyler Ploger, the referee in the middle tonight, often a fourth official for MLS games here. And finally, Wingert shepherds the ball out of bounds, and
they'll go check out and see what's the matter with John Sturzer.
Yeah, and very quickly, the former Portuguese and French under 17 and under 20 player, David Viana, quickly up, warming up, just getting loose. And this is what you'll see. It's exactly what we saw against BYU. This is not going to be a cakewalk for this group of RSL players. These are USL Pro players that have been a part of MLS camps in preseason or have spent a season or two with MLS teams, lost their jobs, and are playing in this league to try to get back into Major League Soccer. And it's matches like this, knowing that Jason Kreis is upstairs, Garth Lagerwey is upstairs, that this is their chance to get back in the league.
Robbie Finley making a run on the long ball from Chris Wingert. Finley tries to turn it around. Looks like they're going to call the foul. Real Salt Lake will have a kick coming.
Yeah, impressive.
Phoenix
impressive recovery speed right there from Renan, the Brazilian center back. He spent some time in Oeste in Brazil. You can see size and strength, but sticking with Robbie Finley with a ball played in to the corner and finding those lines, Renan did a very, very good job of not only sticking with Finley, pace by for his pace, but also that physicality the moment Finley turned the ball outside towards the throw-in line.
So Sebastian Velasquez stands over it. Coming in from the right side of the area. He'll get ready to sling it in with the left foot. Into the mixer it goes. And heading it over the crossbar, well over the crossbar.
Salcedo, yeah, he's rising up. Good whipped in ball from Sebastian Velasquez, and Salcedo at the back door, gets up, wins the header easily, just can't knock it down. Test the goalkeeper, Andrew Weber.
So Weber will put it back in play. Goal kick coming for Phoenix FC. 5th minute scoreless here at Rio Tinto Stadium. John Sturzer goes up high to win the header, and he's down once again. A tough early start for the rookie.
When you talked about weathering the storm, Dunny, I guess this physical play might have been what you were talking about.
Coutinho trying to break away for Phoenix FC. It's broken up. Throw in coming for the Wolves on the far sideline. Comes into Hedrick. They'll play it around the back. Toya with it. Now to Morrison right at the center stripe. Tries to dance out of it. He's dispossessed by Kari Stevenson. Plays it to the middle of the João Plata. RSL looking to attack. Abdoulaye Mensali up the left side. Picked up there by Coutinho. Tries to cross it in, broken down. Mensali still with it in the corner. Plays it in with the right foot. Looking back post Robbie Finley, but taken out nicely out of the air by Weber.
It's a pretty nice cross there from Abdoulaye. Snared by Weber, who, as you mentioned in the pregame, spent I think it was a week we were in Irvine with RSL during the preseason after spending most of last year, Dunny, with Seattle.
Yeah, he actually has had an interesting couple years. He was the backup to John Bush in San Jose, and then before joining Seattle last year, was a part with his twin brother on The Amazing Race, and so took some time to be a part of that. And things didn't pan out in Seattle. He was a part of the preseason with Real Salt Lake, but that was right at the time when Josh Saunders ended up joining the group, and for Weber it was going to be difficult because Jeff Antonella, the signing from Tampa Bay, FC Tampa Bay, which essentially is the same league and the same type of competition Antonella was a part of as this group, Phoenix FC, last year. Antonella came in, played very, very well in preseason, and really established himself. So when Saunders came in, Weber was essentially 5th choice behind Lalo Fernandez.
RSL with the throw in. Chris Wingert puts it in. Kari Stevenson trying to pop it over that Phoenix defense, and another throw in coming for RSL. Looks like the defense of Phoenix trying to pull up high, being a little bit stingy for RSL.
Well, that's what you have to do when you go up against players like João Plata and Robbie Finley. You have to condense the space while making sure there's pressure on the ball in the midfield. If you're going to draw that high line and there's no pressure on the ball coming out of the back for Real Salt Lake, you have to drop off. But between Hedrick and Renan, the two center backs for Phoenix FC, recovery speed for this USL Pro side.
John Sturzer wins it. There's going to be a foul called, however. And Sturzer probably wondering, what do I need to do to get one of those?
And Tyler Ploger, the referee tonight, he's been around Real Salt Lake for a long time. Since the beginning, he's been the center referee for a majority of the reserve league games.
Right.
You go all the way back to the games up in Park City. And you know, in the last couple of years, he's also been a fourth official for a lot of MLS games here at Rio Tinto. So he's a very familiar face to these RSL players.
Ball broken up by Enzo Martinez, but Renan plays it back to Weber, and Phoenix now will possess things in their own half. Danny Toya trying to get it forward to Bowen. Lalo Fernandez comes out and lets it roll over the end line. Goal kick coming for Real Salt Lake. 8th minute, still scoreless here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Real Salt Lake, Phoenix FC in an exhibition match. James Rust, Brian Dunsett, Trey Fitzgerald with you. Glad to have you with us as the fans continue to file in here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Fernandez will play it back in. Chris Wingert. Kwame Watson-Sirbo back to Fernandez. Out wide to Salcedo. Pressure there from Phoenix to Sturzer. Little one touch to Abdoulaye Mensali. And they'll switch fields near side, Chris Wingert. And Dunny, how different is it for a guy playing in the back like a Chris Wingert to go from the left side to the right side? Does it make much of a difference tactically?
Well, if I told you that Chris Wingert was right-footed, would that surprise you? Because he is, and that's how good he is with both feet. You know, he's very interchangeable, and you know, started his career. He came into Major League Soccer, and from the Columbus Crew, he played defensive midfield. He played outside back. He played center back. He can literally play any position because he's that type of player. He's so cerebral with the way he sees the game, and he understands tactically how the game's played. Not the quickest, not the strongest, not the fastest, but he reads the game very well.
Well, he's been a lifesaver for us at center back during certain injury situations the last couple years.
Phoenix FC with it. They'll play it back to goalkeeper Andrew Weber. Now to Renan. They'll play it out of the back, Donny Toya. Broken up there by Robbie Finley. Kari Stevenson wins it, and here comes the counter for Real Salt Lake. A little heavy on the touch was Kari. Renan dispossesses him, and now looking to push it up for Phoenix. And Bowen caught off sides. Tried to get back. A little bit late on the touch. That's what he's yelling back.
Yeah, Diego Faria, the number 9, is kind of sitting in that hole at times, and it's a very fluid formation. At times he's playing at the point and he's pushing all the way up. Other times he's dropping deeper than both Scott Morrison as well as Anthony Obadai. So he's a player that is very creative. You can see very quickly he's got that touch. And for a 24-year-old, you also recognize one of the reasons why he came up through that Santos youth system. Very technical. Very simple in the way he plays, but just wasn't able to make that breakthrough and stay in Brazil.
Sebastian Velasquez tried to hit it with the outside of his left foot, broken up there by Toya. And now possession back to Phoenix, but a poor pass out of the back from Hedrick. And here comes Abdoulaye Mensali up the left side. Plays it in across the 6. Renan pushes it over the byline, and a corner kick. First one of the night coming for Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, and kind of an in-between ball from Abdoulaye Mensali. You had Robbie Finley kind of ghosting in at the front of the 6, but also João Plata coming in deep, looking to get on the backside of Danny Toya, the outside left back for Phoenix FC. But that's what Abdoulaye Mensali is capable of. He overlaps, and for Nintino, the number 8 right back for Phoenix FC, if he doesn't figure out tactically his position really quick, he's going to continue to get pulled apart on that right-hand side of the defense for Phoenix FC.
Sebastian Velasquez will put it in. Plata, one touch. Kari Stevenson into the side netting. And they tried the short corner, which worked for him in regular play. A little bit different variety. No diving Luis Gil for a header goal. Rather, Kari Stevenson trying to slot one home and just put it short of near post into the side netting. Goal kick coming for Andrew Weber.
Donnie, talk a little bit about the opportunity these Phoenix FC players have to make an impression on Garth Lagerwey, Jason Kreis, and the RSL technical staff.
Well, I think what it does is it puts you on the radar. Games like this, if they see that you can compete at this level and that you can play at this level, you're playing well against RSL. Listen, this is a dress rehearsal for RSL as well. When they go up against this team and they come up against some players that are standout players, I think what it'll do for Jason Kreis, Garth Lagerwey, and especially Andy Williams, they'll put a check mark next to the names. And I think sporadically throughout the year, they'll start checking up and seeing if, you know, these players are good enough. It's one thing to play well in a game like this. It's another thing to be a complete player and a big-time performance player. Some players, they train really well, and other players, they're horrible in training, and they come out and they're lights out in game situations. For RSL, because this club is so deep, you want consistency through and through, and on top of that, you want quality people. This club has built a culture in this locker room that very few teams in Major League Soccer have. So I guess the easy answer is just to say that it puts you on the radar.
Plata to Sturzer, tried to get it over the top, back to Plata, broken up there. Sebastian with it, dribbles down, top of the area, and a good job by Phoenix to break it out. I think it was Nintino who was there to punch it out, but fancy footwork there from Sebastian Velasquez to be a threat.
Just a sample of Sebastian's shiftiness there.
Throw in comes to Kari Stevenson, back to Winger. 30 yards out to Sturzer. He'll flick into the area as Robbie Finley looking to turn. Ball bounces at the feet of João Plata, but a little bit tough as Andrew Weber comes out to collect it. He'll roll it out to Ramos. 14th minute, scoreless, RSL and Phoenix FC. As the Wolves play it around their back, Donnie Toyo with it now in front of the Phoenix bench. Looking for a runner, gets it to Morrison right at the center stripe. Broken up by Kari Stevenson, throw in for Phoenix.
One of the difficulties for this Phoenix FC team is when you come and you make that next step up, the speed of the game's faster. The touches have to be cleaner, have to be faster. What they're capable of doing in terms of dominating from a skill perspective at lower levels, it's just not the same. It doesn't really happen that easily. And so I think what we're seeing early is Phoenix FC in terms of the tactical balance, it's pretty solid. But the moment they get the ball, if they're not making that early touch, that early combination, they're getting caught because RSL's closing down speed, that hunting mentality impacts, has really recovered the ball well in that midfield third early to start this match.
Well, and Dunny, that's what I wanted to get to with during pregame, and we didn't really have a chance to. But with the speed of a João Plata and a Robbie Finley up top for RSL, I imagine that's not speed that Phoenix is used to seeing. How might Real Salt Lake be able to exploit that?
Well, they're not used to seeing two. I think in USL Pro, you're used to seeing some burners. There's no doubt there's some guys that are incredibly athletic, but they're not the complete player. It's one of the reasons why they're down a level and not at the highest level in MLS in the United States. That being said, these two players in Finley and João Plata, so far, Hedrick and Renan have done a very good job in terms of recovery, not letting them get in behind.
Here's João Plata, edge of the area, broken up there by Nintino. And out of bounds for an RSL throw-in as Real Salt Lake was threatening down the left-hand side once again with Abdoulaye Mensali making the run.
Yeah, one thing we kind of talked about off air, I'm very interested to see when Travis Bowen and Abdoulaye Mensali come together. Bowen was a starter for the Seattle Sounders in that Desert Diamond Cup final on NBC Sports, and they tangled more than a few times on that left-hand side of RSL's defense. I'm very interested to see if there's one or two tough tackles being laced. So far, Travis Bowen has stayed away from that left-hand side of the defense and forced Aaron King, who was Jeff Antonella's partner. He was the striker while Antonella was the goalkeeper.
Okay.
King was down in FC Tampa. 21 goals in 56 games. It's a pretty solid strike rate. Spent some time with the Colorado Rapids, but has really bounced around in the lower levels, but played for some very good teams. Excelled with the Charleston Battery as well as FC Tampa recently.
Physical game so far as we're in the 17th minute. A couple players for Phoenix FC down. Ramos there along the far sideline. I believe it's Natinho who's down as well, being looked at by the Phoenix trainers. Looks like maybe an ankle on Natinho, as Ramos stands up there on the far side holding his right leg. Now, as we mentioned, this Phoenix FC team still early on in their season. I mean, we're still fairly early in the Major League Soccer season. Real Salt Lake through 8 games, but just 4 games so far for the USL Pro team, Phoenix FC. Currently 1-3-0, just 3 points. Coming off back-to-back losses, 3-1 result in both those games versus Orlando City back on April the 7th, and then last week, April the 14th, losing to the Los Angeles Blues 3-1. So trying to find their stride here, as this game will count on their regular season schedule. They obviously want to come in here, compete, and try to earn a road point just like any other team.
Well, and like I said earlier, this team, it's their first season competing in USL Pro, and what that means is you've literally thrown together 20 players in a short amount of time. And really ask them to come together as a group, understand what the philosophy is from the coaching staff, and understand the tendencies on the field. Just to put this in perspective, you have a couple Brazilians, you have a Cameroonian, you have a player from Ghana, then you have a player from Mexico, a player from Scotland, and a couple of American players. So when you think about all those different tactical approaches and different influences of the game thrown on the field at the same time, it's going to take a while to gel together.
As we get back to action, Real Salt Lake in their own half. Kari Stevenson plays it back to Lalo Fernandez. Scared some of the fans here a little bit.
Crowd actually filled in pretty nicely.
No, there is a decent crowd here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Fans still filing in a little bit. João Plata trying to win it down in the corner with Hedrick, and he just about does it. Hedrick takes him down. Playing a little American football there. Tackled just before the goal line, and a goal kick coming for Phoenix FC.
Yeah, and this is just one of the issues that the referee Tyler Ploger has to deal with sometimes, is because he's based in Salt Lake City, and he doesn't want to be considered a homer, and he
overcompensates.
He overcompensates a little bit. Right there, I think was a good job by Cyprian Hedrick just to physically battle the speed of João Plata, but I think a foul was absolutely committed on the byline. And the referee should have blown a foul in favor of RSL.
Chris Winger tracks it down, heads it forward. Robbie Finley in front of the Phoenix bench. Now to Kari Stevenson.
We're seeing Robbie Finley back second time in 3 days, coming off that adductor injury, scoring that goal a couple weeks ago. But Trey, one of the things we talked about is Robbie is more of a complete player. He was all speed and a pretty good strike rate in his first time around with Real Salt Lake, but with so many ups and downs, so many coaches, losing a director of football at Nottingham Forest who passed away, kind of the direction of the club up and down with his 2.5 years over there in England, a couple different stints in being sent out on loan to get games. For me, I watch Robbie and his movement and his ability to keep possession. He's evolved as a player, and I don't think the common fan is truly realized that Finley comes back a much more complete player, as opposed to, oh yeah, he's the guy that went to England and he failed. Yeah. I think that's maybe the unnecessary sentiment that comes in and is kind of labeling Robbie Finley right now.
His tactical awareness, his ability to read the game, to combine, to do more things. His service is light years ahead of where it was when he left. And, look, a lot of RSL fans, I think, were disappointed. One, that he left. Two, that he didn't have smashing success over there. But he did get a chance to go spend 2.5 years living, breathing, eating, and being consumed by a soccer culture, which I think is an invaluable experience. He's only 27, scored 30 goals in the history of this franchise, third all-time behind Saborio and Espindola. So I still expect big things for him this year, although he did get sidetracked a little bit by that hamstring injury.
Set piece for RSL. Jal Plata puts it into the box, up in the air, and Andrew Weber able to run under it. As I believe it was Salcedo again.
Oh, God.
Robbie Finley trying to catch Weber outside the box.
And for those of you listening on ESPN 700, what just happened is the goalkeeper recovers the ball at the top of the penalty spot, tries to quickly outlet, underthrows, and Robbie Finley, right in front of the visitors' bench, not only takes the ball down out of the air, but quickly tries to side volley, catch the goalkeeper off his line in that empty net. Andrew Weber able to recover, gets a tip to it, pops it up to himself. But that's kind of the perfect example of what I was just talking about, how he's starting to see the game differently. He utilized his strengths over his weaknesses the first time around with RSL. That's what got him to be a part of Bob Bradley's group with the 2010 World Cup. And I think that you're seeing, and again, a more complete player.
Donnie Toya with it for Phoenix FC. Running up, he's got space up the left side. Robbie Finley chasing, and Chris Winger breaks it up there for Real Salt Lake, keeping possession. Renan for Phoenix FC goes out of bounds, throw in coming.
I think we'd be remiss, guys, if we didn't talk a little bit about Donnie Toya's homegrown experience here with Real Salt Lake 2 summers ago. He looks like a bigger player, so he's obviously grown up a little bit. He was one of those guys that decided that college wasn't the route for him. He looks physically much more mature. You just saw his blazing speed there with Finley. And, the homegrown program, RSL comes under a lot of fire for not having as many homegrowns as a team like Dallas, not having homegrown players seeing much of the field. But it's still in its infancy. The league keeps changing its rules, and everybody's trying to figure out the best way to develop young players in this country.
I'll explain it. And for all the theories out there of why RSL doesn't have more homegrowns, it's because they've done such a good job stockpiling the team. It's not as necessary as it is for other teams. It's a very interesting dynamic where a guy like Donnie Toya is the first homegrown player for the for Real Salt Lake. Well, the first homegrown player for the LA Galaxy was Tristan Bowen.
Right.
And he now plays for Chivas USA. Last year he was
after spending 2 years in Europe.
And he was in the Belgian second division for 2 years. For Robin Fraser, he wasn't good enough for Chivas USA. So I think you're starting to see the evolution. What's changed now with Generation Adidas and the homegrown stature is a guy like Giassi Zardes, who would have been the #1 pick in the college draft, was signed by the LA Galaxy beforehand, making a lot of money. And that was because he had trained with the LA Galaxy a certain amount of time. So he earns that homegrown status. I'll say it because you won't, but there's been a couple players, De Leon, I'm going blank, Colorado Rapids. Tony Casio. There's been some players that potentially should have been homegrown players for Real Salt Lake, but because of the model and the system of MLS and its evolution of trying to figure out what is a homegrown player and who technically has rights, or should they be college draft picks, that's where it's been skewed over the last couple of years. But I think it's starting to get cleared up a little bit more.
Well, and this very USL Pro partnership that the league has entered into this year is meant to provide another mechanism for these young guys like a Donnie Toya that was never going to get minutes here on a roster that was 20 deep, to have a place to go to get games day in, day out, get reps under a system that is being taught first team, reserve team, farm team.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Well, and one thing we haven't talked about, which I'd be very, very interested to talk to Garth Lagerwey about at some point in the near future, is now MLS announcing that inside Major League Soccer as a whole, you can trade, or not trade players, you can loan players, and that would be for a full season. And I'm very, very interested to see when that mechanism is triggered for the first time, and we can actually get a good idea and understand fully what it's going to look like. To be able to loan players within Major League Soccer for the season, I think makes games like this even more interesting, where other teams start paying attention to players on the bubble of rosters around Major League Soccer and who potentially could help them immediately.
Free kick coming for Real Salt Lake, about 40 yards out. 27th minute, still scoreless. Kari Stevenson stands over it. I would not want to be one of those 4 in the neon yellow jerseys making up the wall. Kari Stevenson over, diving save by Weber and cleared out. Nice job by Donnie Toya to come back and clear that one out, as Weber unable to control it on the initial shot from Kari Stevenson, a rocket, but Toya comes back to clear it out, and a corner kick coming for Real Salt Lake and Sebastian Velasquez.
So close there, James.
And a good job to kind of bend it around the wall. And how difficult is it for a goalkeeper to try to catch that one and keep a hold of it, as we saw Weber struggle with it, creating a rebound opportunity. RSL plays the short corner. Plata gets it to Kari Stevenson, puts it into the mixer, looking for the head of Robbie Finley, and it's broken up there again by Toya. Abdoulaye Mansali, a little ambitious, tried one from distance, ricochets out of bounds for a throw in on the far sideline for RSL. Quickly taken. Salcedo trying to get it into the box. It's broken up there. Phoenix looking to counter. Bowen with it all the way back in his own end, plays it back to Weber. Poor clearance, goes right to Sebastian, and taken down once again. John Sturzer.
Yeah,
Quick restart. Robbie Finley in the box, taken down.
It's good defensive play there by
Renan. He's been solid to start this match. He's got good athleticism, good individual defending. Would just like to see how comfortable he is in terms of possession, building out of the back. He continues to win win his duels, but when he gets possession, he turns the ball over pretty quickly.
Things picking up just a bit. Poor touch from Kari Stevenson, as Phoenix comes back this way, and Kari's there to break it up. Phoenix with a throw in front of their own bench.
Yeah, I'm watching the assistant coach. He's
Chelis Jr.
Yeah, he's going nuts right now, screaming at Travis Bowen, but it's the gesticulation what's worrisome. I mean, for an assistant coach to be pointing at his head.
Trying to get over the top. Donnie Toya pushes Plata down over the byline. Goal kick for Phoenix FC.
Two things. I'm going to finish my point about the assistant coach. He's literally pointing to his temples like, you need to think, but he is very, very emotionally dialed in and just screaming at Bowen, when I thought Bowen made the right decision, making himself available. But again, the outside backs for Phoenix FC, they've been isolated, physically trying to barrel off Finley, Velasquez, and João Plata once they get to the byline. Both outside backs need to be careful, because they're playing the body as opposed to playing the ball. And I think if they're not careful, they're going to end up punished for a few of those challenges.
Ramos tried to play it down the line for King. A little heavy with the pass as it rolls across the end line for a goal kick for Lalo Fernandez. 30th minute, scoreless, Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC. Near side, Chris Wingert has it. Slows things down, gets it back to Enzo Martinez. Kwame Watson-Sirabo looks for the switch out wide to Abdoulaye Mansali. Robbie Finley broken up by Faria. And Phoenix FC will play it all the way back to Andrew Weber in goal. Quickly plays it back out to Donnie Toya. Pressure being applied from Real Salt Lake. Plays a long ball that's taken out of the air by Kwame.
Great job. Great ball. And that is the continued development of Kwame Watson-Sirabo. 2 years ago, Kwame was sent down to play in this league.
Tampa, too.
And
Faria looking to pull the trigger. Ramos chipping it across. Nearly misplayed there by Lalo Fernandez, as he was trying to just punch it over, and in fact it stayed in play. Toya with it now for Phoenix near the center stripe. Broken up by Sebastian. Poor pass from Enzo Martinez. And here comes Renan trying to run out of the back. Little helter-skelter there for a minute. Phoenix now with possession. Obadai out wide, and Natinho will try to bring it up that far right side. Leaves it for Ramos. Looking for some help. Plays it into a crowd, and Enzo Martinez comes away with it for Real Salt Lake. Tries to get it to Sturzer. It's broken up by Hedrick.
Not a lot of possession from RSL through the midfield. Seems like it's been quite direct, looking for either Mansali on the wings or Plata and Finley up top.
Robbie Finley tries to leave it for Sebastian Velasquez, broken up nicely by Morrison. King with possession now, looking to get into the attack for Phoenix. Out wide to Ramos. He'll put it into the box. Easily taken there by Lalo Fernandez, and he'll play it quickly.
Yeah, and Trey, to your point, I think when you have that type of speed in Plata and Finley, it's difficult not to go to the well every single time.
Right. Sebastian Velasquez now with a little bit of space. Leaves it for Kari Stevenson.
Oh. And I'll explain why it's difficult not to go to the well, because when you have Finley and Plata playing up high and they make those runs, whether they're checking back and you're trying to keep possession with that simple combination, release the pressure and allow them to spin off, or that secondary run that really finds the gaps, just finds that seam inside the outside back but off the shoulder of the center back. I think when you know you can ping a ball up over the top as opposed to keeping that simple possession, you kind of feel that pressure that, okay, let's go. And especially with a younger group of players, it's a little bit different. When you have Javi and you have Ned and you have Kyle, they're going to put their foot on the ball and say, guys, settle down for a minute. Let's keep some possession first. I think it's one of the reasons why you're seeing this game really teeter-totter back and forth in the midfield third in the first 30, 34 minutes.
Phoenix trying to link up between King and Faria. Unable to do so as Real Salt Lake plays it back to Lalo Fernandez. Now Abdoulaye Mansali will walk it up on that far left side. Into the middle is Sturzer, plays it to Robbie Finley. Broken up there. Here comes King for Phoenix FC. Tries to slot it through the middle to Bowen. And the takeaway by Kari Stevenson gets it to João Plata for Real Salt Lake. Robbie Finley in the middle of the field.
It's a very good job from Robbie Finley. Turns away from pressure, but Phoenix FC, from a tactical perspective, their balance, their back four, has been very, very good. They drop well. I think they stick together as a unit. They play off each other's shoulders, and it's one of the reasons I think Real Salt Lake's had a tough time breaking them down consistently early in this match.
Martinez looks for the switch to Chris Wingert here near side in front of the Phoenix bench. Now João Plata looking for a runner. Plays it to Kari Stevenson. Morrison there defending. Back to Wingert. Tried to get it to João Plata. Looks like it took a deflection. Enzo Martinez able to keep it in the Phoenix half for Real Salt Lake. Sebastian Velasquez now. João Plata trying to get it back to Sebastian. Kari Stevenson now will try a shot from distance.
I'll tell you what, man. I've known Kari for a long time, and every time that ball is on his foot, you can't tell he's about to shoot. He has got such an incredible quick release. It's literally a step, and he slaps at it, but the power. I was laughing with him at training the other day. I was like, man, how do you get that much power? He literally drops bombs on people with
a step.
Yeah, it's a single step, and he's like, yeah, it's all in that final. It's just my leg and my knee. That's all I do. And I just started laughing.
He was about 30 yards out on that one and sent it a little bit high.
Yeah, it's the movement, the amount of buckling on that ball. It's just frightening for goalkeepers. The stuff, you know, at trainings, out at practice, you see him in some of these finishing drills, and you just start shaking your head. You cannot believe what he's capable of doing.
Wingert to Finley, just outside the area, plays it into the middle, broken up there. Still looking for that final connection for Real Salt Lake on the attack.
Very good right there from Enzo Martinez. He's been solid tonight in the 36 minutes this match has been going on. He read that well. The tactical balance and trying to make sure that there was no counter. Steps in front of Faria, Diego Faria, the number 9, the playmaker for Phoenix, and just retains simple possession. That's vital for his position.
There's a poor giveaway from Mansali. Bowen now. Running back to defend is Kari Stevenson, who breaks it up nicely. Ends the attack Here comes Sebastian, now up to Robbie Finley. Looking to turn on the Jets. Cuts inside of Toya. Plays a ball
Great
into
ball.
Plata. And a good job by Hendrick running back to break it up, but a good idea there from Robbie Finley.
Yeah, Hendrick does a very good job, recovers. Finley was trying to weight that ball, and it was difficult to decide how to weight that ball because when you have João Plata's speed, you tend to want to overhit it to know he's getting to get there. But that was a perfectly weighted ball because if he overhits that, Andrew Weber's coming off his line, easily picking it up. So good defensive positioning from the center back, Hendrick.
37th minute and scoreless between RSL and Phoenix. Sebastian Velasquez to take the corner kick into the box. Weber tried to time it. Kwame gets in there to break it up, and they're going to give the call to the goalkeeper, Weber, who puts it back into play quickly to Ramos.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind in games like this is the coaching staff sometimes has allocated a certain amount of minutes to certain players. And one thing, the reason why I bring that up is 38 minutes in, Aaron Mond, the center back who played last season for Toronto FC, who was one of my favorite players to watch alongside João Plata in CONCACAF Champions League. He's off the bench and starting to warm up just below us to our left-hand side.
Bowen with it for Phoenix, looking to run up the right side. Broken up there nicely by Abdoulaye Mansali. Throw in coming for Phoenix FC. As King goes down, looks like he's trying to stretch that left hamstring. Aaron King, one of the strikers up top with Travis Bowen. They'll come out and give him a look.
Yeah, two players on the bench for Phoenix FC in terms of strikers. Ramos Thomas as well as Weber Elliott available. And it looks as if Weber Elliott's going to be the first player off the bench for Phoenix FC.
And this Phoenix team, they're a group that's a little bit banged up. They lost one of their defenders last week in Devin Grosses. That's why we've seen Natinho in. He's the one who replaced Grosses last week, the game against LA. Darren Mackey, also one of their go-to guys, out with a groin injury. In fact, Andrew Weber, goalkeeper, he missed last week with a groin injury, and things did not go well. His backup goalkeeper, Sheldon Parkinson, led in 3 goals in the 3-1 loss to LA.
Yeah, what's interesting about this substitution is Elliot Weber is actually the twin brother of the goalkeeper, Andrew Weber. He's also a singer-songwriter. He stepped away from the game to just focus on music for a while, came back from soccer, and this is actually his first professional contract. So it's one of those really cool dynamics where you get to see kind of the difference in terms of life perspective versus following and chasing your dream on the athletic side of things.
So Elliot Weber does come on in place of Aaron King as we're back to play 40th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. James Rust, Brian Dunseth, Trey Fitzgerald with you. Real Salt Lake with possession. John Sturzer leaves it for Abdoulaye Mansali. Abdoulaye now will play it back to Salcedo. Gives it to Kwame. And Kwame will kick it out of bounds as Enzo Martinez now goes down.
Now, Aaron Mond's coming in, but
Enzo kind of
Enzo's
pointing at his,
the one coming out, yeah.
Pointing at his right knee, it looked like.
Mond did play some D mid for Toronto FC last year.
Yeah.
His rookie year out of Notre Dame. The RSL technical staff actually had Mond as one of the top players on their board going into that 2012 Super Draft. So this has got to be disappointing for Enzo. Hopefully he's able to bounce back from what appears to be a right knee injury.
Well, and so we talked about kind of coaches coming into these games with expected minutes for guys. It doesn't look like this was one of those substitutions.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was just Jeff Cassar and the athletic training staff just asking him what happened, and he was pointing down at the box, something that happened a few minutes ago. I think maybe when he was kind of chasing possession and providing that outlet. But the adjustment will actually be Aaron Mond will go to center back, play on that right-hand side of the center back pairing. Kwame Watson-Sarabo will slide over to that left-hand side, and we'll get to see Carlos Salcedo play as a defensive mid.
And I love this, Dunny, because we're going to get to see his ball skills in the midfield a little more than we usually do as a center back.
Chris Wingert now with it for Real Salt Lake. 42nd minute, scoreless between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC. Kwame Watson-Siriboe with it now for Real Salt Lake. Plays it back to Aaron Mond, who just came on. See if Real Salt Lake can get something going here just before halftime.
A couple weeks ago against BYU, it was a Sturzer goal in first half stoppage that ended up being the only goal of the game.
Yeah, and the referee tonight, Tyler Ploger, he needs to be careful. He is the referee, is allowing this game to be played out, which I'm fine with. But the physicality with some of these challenges, there's a lot of playing and moving off the ball for Real Salt Lake. And the Phoenix FC players are just stepping in front, turning their back, a little clothesline here or there. And at some point, if the referee does not draw the line, the players will physically draw the line. And you'll see a couple heavy challenges start to come on, same way we saw it happen against BYU the other day.
Here's an attack for Bowen. Shot deflected there by Kwame. Bowen still with it. Left-footed drive just wide of a diving Lalo Fernandez, and there was the best opportunity of the night to this point for Phoenix FC.
The referee actually ends up helping Abdullahi after getting steamrolled there at the top of the circle.
Yeah, Elliot Weber just comes on as a substitute, does a good job, turns and slots Travis Bowen. Bowen, his shot deflected. Good tackle by Kwame Watson-Siriboe, and then Abdullahi Mansali just gets steamrolled by Elliot Weber, who looks like he's probably 6'2", 6'3", I'd say 190 pounds. Pretty big dude.
Ball trying to play it over the top to Ja Plata. He was bracketed there by Phoenix FC defenders Donnie Toya and Renan. And a goal kick comes for Andrew Weber in the 44th minute.
You know, we're often, Trey, talking about the style in which Jason Kreis employs in Major League Soccer, that diamond formation, and very fluid in the attack, having that kind of free roll at the top of the diamond, but very fluid underneath. Outside backs looking to get into the attack. And one thing, you know, we're talking about philosophies, we're talking about ideas. When you watch this quote-unquote reserve team play, they're doing a lot of the same things that Jason Kreis asks his first team to do every single week.
Well, and that's why Jason is always telling us that it takes 2 to 3 years to get guys to fully understand this diamond midfield system and how everything operates around it. So you see it with Luis Gill, and you're seeing it with other young players that come up now from the academy. They spend time here. They spend long stretches of preseason. Jason talked a lot this February and March about how excited he was to have the opportunity to teach again after not having such a veteran crew as we've seen the past 5 or 6 years.
Throw in for Real Salt Lake. Chris Wingert to take it. Into Kari Stevenson. Turns middle of the field. Gets it to Salcedo. Mon plays it forward. Wingert lets it run through. Robbie Finley not making that run. And it's going to run all the way down. Kick off the flag for a throw-in coming for Phoenix FC.
Yeah, it's one of those whoops moments. I've been in that same boat right there as Donnie Toy. You get to a point when you start thinking, oh no, please go out for the goal kick.
Ball back in. Looks like we're going to have a foul or handball on Bowen. And a free kick coming for Real Salt Lake. A dangerous spot. With Sebastian Velasquez able to whip it in with the left foot.
Yeah, foul committed, and very quickly 3 Phoenix FC players literally standing inches in front of the ball. They do not want Real Salt Lake to play quickly.
Sebastian in. Headed out by Toya. And then by Ramos for a throw in for Real Salt Lake.
Trey, I find it very interesting, and I just want to know if it's me. Is it interesting that no one is talking about Sebastian Velasquez in terms of his relative inexperience at playing at a high level, and in a year, not even a year and a half into being a professional, he's become a pretty important clog in the wheel for head coach Jason Kreis.
Well, he's hugely important because you see him fill in for Morales, fill in for Gill, fill in for Grabavoy, wherever he needs to be in that diamond. I think people would rather talk about his hairstyle of the day.
He does. I'll be honest with you. He does have the dirtiest rat tail in the history of Major League Soccer, and he knows that.
Alexi Lawless called him Lamal on Twitter the other day. People were chanting Rufio in the Chivas game. So But you're right. I mean, for a guy that is 18 years old, grows up in South Carolina, born in Columbia, plays at some small school in South Carolina, screws up his college eligibility by accepting a tryout with Espanyol without really knowing
Both
what
Barcelona
it means to
and
hire
Espanyol.
an agent, all that kind of stuff. And, Miles Joseph deserves credit for finding him, and talk about somebody that's adapted to the system extremely quickly.
Now we're getting a little bit physical.
Oh, here we
Player
go.
down for Phoenix.
It's Renan. Now
Renan.
Kwame Watson-Sarabo and Renan
Kwame's
going
getting
at
into it. And it's taken all the officials there to try to sort things out.
Yeah, for you listen on the radio, ESPN 700. This is full out scrum. Kwame right in the middle with the number 5. Renan. I'm not really sure what Andrew Weber's doing.
Yeah.
He's throwing his arms around like he's Wreck-It Ralph.
Tyler's already got the red card in hand.
Yeah.
Red card to the keeper, and likely
I wouldn't be
Kwame.
surprised. Yeah, if I would not be surprised if Kwame does see the red, and I don't have a problem, or Chris Winger, both immediately in the fray, and the problem is when you're protecting your player, I've got no problem with teams standing up, especially in challenges, in dirty challenges, the way things happen, but when you're first in the fray, immediately referees, the center referees, fourth officials, and assistant referees, they visually lock in, and anytime you see hands going to the face, it's what we saw with Carlos Mejia and Ned Grabavoy in Major League Soccer, and now with FIF Pro, the referee group. Anytime you're going to see hands touching an opponent's face, you absolutely will see a red card immediately.
So still trying to sort this thing out.
Andrew Weber now has his hands behind his back.
And I didn't see it. Trey, you said the red card was shown to Weber?
Yep. He has not shown it to an RSL player yet, but I think he's looking around to try to figure out where Kwame is.
And Kwame smartly getting out of the area. Back talking with the RSL coaching staff. As Renan is the player down now for Phoenix FC.
Yeah, he was the first in the mix, and Renan was in there, had his hands all over Chris Wingert, and then when Real Salt Lake is a group, so Renan got the red card as well, and I think that's deserved. But I don't think that's the last one. I really don't think. I think Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler's making his way to the RSL side now.
Yeah, he's looking for somebody. I think he's going to go for Kwame. Or does he put it away?
Well, if he's looking for Kwame, he just walked past him. So a red card for Andrew Weber, the goalkeeper.
Renan, the center back.
Renan, the center back, and now it is shown to Kwame Watson-Sarabo for Real Salt Lake.
Well, and something to keep in mind, this is not a friendly.
There will be a return match.
Well, and not only is there a return match, but just to put this in the wheelhouse of all the listeners, when a player gets a red card for Real Salt Lake playing in reserve league action, they are suspended immediately as well as fined. It is the exact same as it is in Major League Soccer.
We're trying to catch a bit of the replay right now on YouTube to get a better idea as to what exactly went on between the two sides that led to red cards for Andrew Weber, Renan, as well as Kwame Watson-Sarabo.
And it's situations like that that give soccer a bad name. It's one of the reasons why those who don't know the game, they catch a little bit of that, and it's just infuriating. That and the diving aspect of the game. Listen, it's soccer. You're not going to go out there and throw punches and haymakers at people and then run away and act like nothing's happened whatsoever.
So Sheldon Parkinson getting warmed up on the sideline for Phoenix FC. He'll be the replacement goalkeeper. And as I mentioned, he actually played last week for Weber, who was injured with the groin injury in the 3-1 loss to LA.
And something to think about. So now Renan is out and Andrew Weber, both are red carded. To get a goalkeeper on the field, they're going to have to make another substitution. So you're looking at essentially 2 field players coming off after you've already made the injury substitution to Aaron King. So it's going to be a very interesting choice by the head coach. Not only is he down to 9 players as it is, but he's got to pull off another field player to make sure he's got a goalkeeper on.
Guys still jawing back and forth a little bit. Chris Wingert a little heated for Real Salt Lake, as is Faria for Phoenix FC. And guys, at this point, do you feel we've seen the end of the chippiness, or I mean, we're only 45 minutes into this thing?
No, and it's what we talked about. And again, I go back and you don't want to put blame onto the referee, but I said it 15 minutes ago.
Right.
If you allow the game to get out of control and you allow the game to physically reach a certain peak, that's when the players take charge of the situation. And again, I go back to it's simple fouls that are being committed that aren't being called. Frustration level grows, and that's where you see it take that next step. But I'm pretty sure Jorge Ramos, the number 15, just came out.
He did.
For Parkinson Sheldon, the backup goalkeeper, to make way.
Yeah, guys, I just rewound the video feed, and you don't see the initial altercation on the live stream.
So tough to get the exact detail as to everything that went on there. Renan tried to get back into the game. The referee said, no, you've been given a red card.
And I actually think, all things considered, Jason Kreis, Jeff Cassar, the Phoenix FC coaching staff would prefer an 11v11 game.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I continue to watch this assistant coach for Phoenix FC, and this dude is emotional. He probably wants to lock it up. Now, he's literally two-handed shoving in the back of Travis Bowen to get him off the field. It's definitely unlike what I've seen in a long time.
That's going to do it for the first half. Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC scoreless. The Wolves will be down 2 men coming back out for the final 45 minutes. Andrew Weber, the goalkeeper, and Renan, the center back, both shown red cards. Kwame Watson-Siriboe sent off with a red card as well for Real Salt Lake. So scoreless at the half. We'll hop out to a quick break. In fact, coming up on the other side during halftime, we'll be joined by Jared Dubois, host of the Best Soccer Show, as we look ahead to the LA Galaxy for Real Salt Lake this coming weekend. You're tuned into ESPN 700.
Come check out all of the Real Salt Lake merchandise at the RSL team store located.
All right, so we're going to have to go.
2 men for the second half. Real Salt Lake down 1. But James Rust, Trey Fitzgerald, Brian Dunseth will be back with us shortly. But let's get out to our guests. Looking ahead to this weekend, Real Salt Lake welcoming in the LA Galaxy. Jared Dubois, host of the Best Soccer Show, joining us here on Frame in Salt Lake City. And Jared, appreciate you being with us. We've only got a few minutes, so let's get right into things. This LA Galaxy RSL kind of striking up a little bit of a rivalry. RSL coming off the 1-0 win over Chivas USA. Starting a 3-game homestand, the LA Galaxy will be game 2. The Galaxy, meanwhile, coming off the victory over Sporting Kansas City. So just overall, let's get your thoughts, and then we'll work backwards a little bit. Your thoughts on the matchup coming up this weekend between LA and RSL?
A little bit of a rivalry. This is one of the big ones. I mean, between the two teams that want to play the best ball in the league, I think they're kind of bragging rights for who's who plays the best soccer in all of MLS, and it kind of comes down to this weekend. I'm glad that both teams are going to meet pretty much on full strength. I think the only thing that might be a question, and I'm sure some of you guys are already covered on the show today, I'm not sure what the status of Schuler is going to be going into the weekend with his hand surgery. I personally look forward to seeing if Schuler's out there, and also to see what Bruce Arena is going to do on the defensive side of his team, because Leonardo sits out the last game, and I personally think that the LA Galaxy is better for it. Leonardo's been the type of guy that's been prone to a lot of mental issues so far this season, along with Carlos Cudicini. To have them both out there, it seems like each one of them is probably good for one a game. So I don't really understand Bruce Arena's fascination of going away from the back four that's won him a couple of championships, and that's A.J. De La Garza in the center with Omar Gonzalez. And I think you saw on the weekend against one of the best teams in the league in Sporting Kansas City. I think you saw that partnership it's just so natural and so easy. I don't really see why Bruce Arena feels the need to change it, but I think it's a lineup that he can go with again this weekend, because RSL doesn't necessarily employ a really big power striker. Saborio has a lot of strength, but not in the traditional sense of like a Kenny Cooper or a Abbas Perez or Connor Casey. So I think the speed of A.J. De La Garza would be really key to maybe keeping in a young, dynamic guy that I'm scared of in Omar Garcia.
Yeah, Jared, thanks for joining us tonight. Talk a little bit about, what you think the national perception is of this rivalry. I feel like everybody in Salt Lake and L.A. and even in Seattle understands kind of the gravity of these games between the Galaxy and RSL, and there's a lot of history there. Jason Kreis, Chris Klein, the trade for Robbie Finley, etc., the friendship that those two have carried on for several years. But it seems like these games are always either on a Wednesday night in April or early season. They're not on national TV, and it's a little bit of a puzzle to me.
For the people that actually watch MLS on a week in, week out basis, this is the game that you want to look for. I think last week with LA versus Kansas City was another one of them. I think for the people that actually know how these teams play, and the ones that want to play their style, no matter what stadium they go into, and I think that's that was a bit of the appeal last weekend in Kansas City versus LA. Two teams that aren't going to change their style based on being maybe scared or feeling a bit imposed by the other team. And I think that's another same draw that LA and Real Salt Lake has. Real Salt Lake, in the fact that it's probably one of the few, if only, team in the entire league that has a style of play. And I think you see it this season more than any other, because no team, I think, had to go through the overhaul that Real Salt Lake had to go through in the postseason. And despite all that, they not only found good players, they found good players that play the exact same style. That's one thing that I'm so impressed with Jason Kreis. He didn't have to mortgage the identity of his team to do the overhaul that he had to. So I think that's a really big plaudits there for Jason Kreis. And I think those that watch this league, they see in LA a team that knows who they are, a team in RSL who know who they are. One of them's going to bunker in. Neither one's going to put 10 guys behind the ball. They're going to play their style as open or as closed as it may end up being on the night. Neither one of them's going to waver, and I think it's for bragging rights. Listen, LA, New York, it's a bigger matchup. I get it. Portland, Seattle, it's a bigger matchup. I get it. LA and RSL, for the people that watch, is the most entertaining game out there this weekend.
Jared Dubois, host of the Best Soccer Show, our guest for just a couple more minutes. Jared, a name that you mentioned, Omar Garcia, has created quite the buzz here in Salt Lake amongst the RSL fans. You mentioned his name. What kind of buzz is out there surrounding him with other MLS teams, in particular the LA Galaxy?
I think when you make a short list of young players that you want to watch in this league right now, we're going to have 3 of them, four of them, probably pretty likely on the field at some point this weekend. In Luis Gil, in Omar Garcia, Jack McBean, and Xavier Real. And I think when you talk about Omar Garcia, he belongs already in the very short time. 2 games we're talking about right now? I mean, you guys have seen him for longer than that on the training side and the reserve side, but in 2 games, it says so much about this player that he's already being spoken about in the same regards as those other players, especially someone like Luis Gil, who's been doing it for you guys for a few years now, and he's come on the scene and been that electric and that impressive and looked that much in his depth at this level that, I mean, I think he's, like I said, for people that watch, they know this guy already, and that's something that's really, really impressive because guys like Jose Villarreal and Jack McBean at the LA Galaxy, I mean, they really came out of the under-20 tournament with a lot of, I don't say fanfare, a lot of pub coming out of that. And I think that Omar Garcia now has kind of reached that same level as one of the young players in this league. And what I find even more impressive about it is that MLS, and in particular Real Salt Lake, was able to find a young foreign player to bring into the league like that. And that's one of the harder things to find. And credit to Andy Williams on the RSL side, to go out and find the young electric players like this and convince them that MLS is the best place for them to be.
Jared, for all the Landon Donovan bashing that's gone on over the years, for all the LA fans that say, okay, we don't necessarily need him, he's been good for us, how important has it been to see LD back in an LA Galaxy uniform and really pick up right where he left off in terms of his sharpness, his ability to combine, and basically all the little things that he does to make the LA Galaxy that much better?
Well, I think I want to maybe put a little bit different perception on what you said there, Dunny, and that's that I don't know that LA fans feel that they don't need him. I think the bigger thing is that I think they feel that he's done enough that what he wants to do, we can support. If it's what he needs to make him a better person or find enlightenment or whatever it is he's looking for, or just to stick around and play some more years, I think LA feel content with the relationship with Landon Donovan. So, but in terms of seeing him back on the field, and I think last game was the first one I really saw Landon Donovan, like the one I remember, I think, on the field last time. I think that it's a huge deal to know that you have that safety net. And I think what people don't really realize and don't stress enough or maybe find important enough about Landon Donovan is the one thing he does. It bothers some people, but if they really know, they understand how keen a thing this is. When he holds up the play, that's the thing that a lot of people don't. It's a lot of myths. They think Landon Donovan should be streaking towards goal every time he has the ball at his feet. Landon Donovan has the intellectual ability and the mental acuity to know when to hold up the ball and when it's not on. And Dunny, as a player, you know that not on thing. When you know it's not on, people will try to press and try to beat 2 and 3 defenders. Ball comes right back the other way. Now you're launching a counter the other way. He knows when to dictate the play. And I think that's a huge thing, especially with a midfield that's going out there right now of Juninho and Sarvis and maybe Mike McGee. They don't necessarily have the width. They don't necessarily have the really creative dynamism that you have like in a Javi Morales. But he needs to know how to dictate the pace. But I still am a big fan of Landon Donovan up top of Robbie King rather than being in midfield.
Hey, Jared, we're up against it. We appreciate you making just a few minutes for us, despite the fact we had to be a little quick. Look forward to the matchup this weekend, and thanks for making time for us.
Not a problem. Looking forward to seeing you guys in L.A.
Thanks, Jared.
All right, there you go. Jared Dubois, host of the Best Soccer Show. We're going to hop out to a quick break, get you ready for second half action between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC on ESPN 700.
Join the Bill and Hans Show and Invigorate from 2 to 6 on April 23rd at Gold's Gym across from University Mall in Orem.
So, James,
Corolla, the car you can count on, right now at your Toyota dealer. Hurry in today and get amazing deals and low APRs on the advanced, affordable, and always reliable Corolla. To learn more, visit Toyota.com. Toyota.
just know, James, that we're
Welcome back into Rio Tinto Stadium. Just underway, second half action between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC. Scoreless through 45 minutes. If you're just joining us, you missed some heated action right before the end of the half as a few red cards were shown. 2 to the Phoenix side. Andrew Weber, goalkeeper, and Renan, the center back, both sent off. So Phoenix FC now playing with just 9 men. Kwame Watson-Siriboe shown a red for Real Salt Lake, so they're down to 10. A couple quick substitutions to bring you up to speed. Jeff Antonella in goal now, replacing Lalo Fernandez. And the big rookie, Devin Sandoval, playing up top. He'll replace Robbie Finley as we're back underway. Abdoulaye Mansali with possession for RSL. Back to Kari Stevenson in the Phoenix half.
Yeah, and a little bit of a different look tactically. What you'll see is Sturzer sitting a little bit deeper and sharing that responsibility with Kari Stevenson. Devin Sandoval will go up top and have João Plata playing off of his shoulder. So now you got that big post-up striker type, that Saborio strength and size in Sandoval, and you have the pace of Plata playing off him. But it'll be kind of holding defensive midfield by committee between Sturzer and Kari Stevenson.
Ball played in by Winger, looking for Sandoval. Good run, but a nice job to break things up. Natinho there for Phoenix.
Dunny, let's talk about what 10-on-9 means tactically in this second 45 minutes.
I'll tell you what it means. On this gigantic field, it means a lot more space. What you're going to see Phoenix FC do is Elliot Weber, the number 19, will play up top, and he'll be that lone striker. A little bit of an adjustment with Travis Bowen will come to that right-hand side, and it'll be kind of a little pseudo triangle with the number 9 Diego Faria and Travis Bowen playing alongside of each other with the number 6 Anthony Obadai, who spent some time with the Houston Dynamo. He'll set underneath. So they'll kind of play like a diamond, but they'll play in front of a back four. The number 3 Scott Morrison, who was playing as a holding midfielder, he will slot in alongside Cyprian Hedrick. So it'll be 4 across the back line and essentially a diamond in front of them.
We'll see if Real Salt Lake can capitalize over the next 43 minutes or so, playing with the man advantage.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind for Phoenix FC, because of the speed of Bowen and Diego Faria, the number 9, playing underneath Elliot Weber, the big point striker, Real Salt Lake has to be very, very, very careful with this, because mentally they know they're up a man, they know they'll have more time, more space on the ball, but they cannot afford to get disbalanced in the midfield and lose that shape, because Phoenix can hit them because they have that breakout pace. It's kind of what we saw in the second half against Chivas USA, where RSL got opened up a little bit more than they were used to because of the speed and the breakout ability quickly in transition.
Corner kick coming for Real Salt Lake on the far side. Sebastian Velasquez will take it. Plata there as a short option. He plays it to Plata. Trying to get it back to Sebastian. Faria, good job to poke it out of bounds and break things up. 49th minute and scoreless between Real Salt Lake playing with 10 men. Phoenix FC playing with 9 here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Sebastian has the left foot if he wants it. Sizing it up, putting it on just over the bar.
You know, one thing we talked about at the end of the first half is how this group of players right now in front of 6,000 people in a reserve league match here at Rio Tinto Stadium, what was the response going to be? And I can tell you, based on what happened at the end of the first half in those dying seconds, 3 players straight red sent off. I don't think anyone in that locker room could have been content with what happened in that first 45 minutes. Phoenix FC has done a good job and come in and competed very, very well. Now it's up to Real Salt Lake, style, substance, quality, finding the back of the net. This is where, knowing they're up a man, they have to have the better of the chances. It's going to be difficult to break down Phoenix, knowing that they're going to come in and look just to sit in and defend for 45 minutes.
Salcedo on the ball. Brings it near side. Abdoulaye Mansali as Real Salt Lake goes right to left this half. Plays it up into the corner. Devin Sandoval.
Good job.
Ball broken up by Natinho.
Yeah, the outside right back for Phoenix FC, Natinho, was looking to line up Devin Sandoval, was waiting for that heavy touch. Sandoval recognized that challenge was coming in a split second, scooped it with the outside of his right foot off the shin guards of Natinho and out for a corner kick opportunity.
Sandoval displaying a bit of pace there that we haven't really
He's
had a chance to
yeah.
see.
He's deceptive.
João Plata stands over the corner. He'll play it into the box. And blown dead by our center referee. Are we going to try it again?
Well, so again, the referee, the ball's in play, and he sees that Diego Faria, the number 9, has two hands of Devin Sandoval's jersey. Sandoval pulls away. His jersey's pulled 2 or 3 feet off of his body. As the corner's already taken balls in the air, that's when the referee blows the whistle to have a conversation. It just needs to be better quality from the referee's perspective.
Ball back in from Plata. Looking back post. Broken up by Morrison. Mon puts it in. Sandoval had it at his foot a little bit heavy on the bounce. And Morrison able to push Sandoval out of the way. Tries to clear. Salcedo, good job to keep it in. Heads it to Sandoval. Devin looking for some help. And Donnie Toya pushes it out. Throw, and I believe coming for Real Salt Lake deep in the corner.
Devin may be the mildest mannered, nicest guy I've ever met, but his patience might be tested some more of this physical play.
Sebastian Velasquez on the ball, trying to get around Donnie Toya. Does. Beautiful footwork. And then taken down in the box. Corner kick coming once again for Real Salt Lake.
Yeah,
Obadai.
good challenge by Obadai right there, but there's that little skill check ability from Sebastian Velasquez, and unfortunately for Danny Toya, he just got wrung inside out and got taken. Toya ended up on his stomach just outside the 18-yard box.
Yeah, he's going to want to forget that one. Salcedo. Phoenix unable to clear. Mon now over to Wingert on the far right side. Wingert putting it in. Over the head. And Devin Sandoval running far post.
Yeah, Parkinson Sheldon coming off his line, and he just completely whiffs. It was a deceptive ball from Chris Wingert, but the quality of service from the flank we're used to seeing from Wingert.
Ball played in. Hendrick. Now Obadai trying to clear.
Yeah, and this is
what it's going to be like.
Yeah, well, the physical challenges, I have no problem with that. But this is where Real Salt Lake, from a fitness perspective, should really start changing the look of this game.
Plata into the box. Touch from Sandoval. Back to Sandoval. Now Kari Stevenson. Shot. Deflected out. Chances a many for Real Salt Lake right now. Sebastian Velasquez still in the area. Chris Wingert just outside. Chipping. Looking back post, and Plata unable to get their goal kick coming.
Again, the combination play, and it starts with Plata on the near side. Finds Kari Stevenson outside the 18-yard box. First time ball, Devin Sandoval combines again with Plata. Back to Sandoval. Sandoval recognizes the shot, his space is going to get closed down. Sets it up for Kari Stevenson. Great first time ball. Beats the defense, and then Natinho, the outside right back, had dropped in on the line, kept that ball from going in.
Yeah, Sheldon Parkinson might have his hands full over the next 40 minutes or so in goal. 54th minute, scoreless still between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC. Natinho to throw it in front of the Phoenix bench. Faria. 5-hole Sturzer, but Salcedo there.
So looks like RSL now kind of a 4-1-4-1, but you got to think either Mansali or Winger are going to be bombing forward and really leaving 3 in the back. Sturzer kind of playing that pseudo D mid role.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Trey. Right now, I think João Plata is going to play a hybrid of what Javi does, as well as playing underneath Devin Sandoval. You'll see Sturzer playing a little bit deeper with Stevenson and Velasquez playing off of his shoulders. But this is the type of space between Kari Stevenson and Sebastian Velasquez. Their ability to keep possession, retain possession, create opportunities going forward, and individually just break down opponents. I think you're going to get to see, from a skill perspective, RSL players really starting to shine in their one-on-one battles.
Morrison puts it into the box from distance. Antonella picks it out of air and rolls it out to Abdoulaye Mansali. RSL looking to get into the attack. Abdoulaye across the center line. Looking for some numbers forward, and it's broken up there.
Make quicker decisions.
Obadai. And he's pushed over by Kari Stevenson. Kick coming for Phoenix FC. And they'll definitely try to slow things down here. Wait for goalkeeper Sheldon Parkinson to come out and take the kick well outside the box. 55th minute, scoreless at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Well, this is where I was talking about from a fitness perspective. Real Salt Lake should really start to shine, but also because Phoenix FC is going to look to defend with 5 at all times. Right now, Anthony Obadiah, the number 6, is sitting directly in front of the 2 center backs. So it's a flat 4 with Obadiah sitting in front, essentially making it 5. They'll look to attack with 3 going forward, but
come on, Chris.
When you defend this way and you're dropping deeper and deeper and having to chase all the runs coming at you, your legs are, you just get run into the ground. And that's why you're seeing so much possession spilled back into Real Salt Lake in that middle third. The second balls are winning those second balls, retaining that possession is where Real Salt Lake should be able to kind of just turn the screws a little bit to Phoenix.
Ball in the Phoenix half at the foot of Chris Wingert. Gets it to Sebastian Velasquez. John Sturtzer in the middle, and they'll slowly make the switch to the near side. Left side, Abdoulaye Mansali looking to get the left foot on it. Going far post, lands in the hands of Parkinson, the goalkeeper.
Got to be a little more patient than that and try to combine and get that final pass in the final third as opposed to just looping balls in the box.
Well, and I'd also say if Abdoulaye Mansali is going to whip a ball in from that angle, he's got to make sure that he's giving Devin Sandoval an opportunity to get on the end of it. With the size that Phoenix has in that back line, if you're not having quality service and you're over-hitting that ball between Sebastian Velasquez and João Plata, there's just not going to be a lot of opportunity due to the lack of size.
I mean, their keeper's every bit of 6'3".
Faria trying to get through the double team of Chris Wingert and Sebastian Velasquez. Knocked out of bounds. Throw in for Phoenix FC. They'll leave it for Donny Toya. 58th minute. 0-0. As the throw in comes in, Sebastian Velasquez unable to clear it, and another throw in for the Wolves. Next match for Real Salt Lake, Saturday night here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Defending MLS champs, the LA Galaxy, will be in town. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. 6 o'clock pregame here on ESPN 700. Ball comes all the way back to Phoenix goalkeeper Sheldon Parkinson. He'll put it back down the middle of the pitch. Faria with the ball at his foot. Try the left side. Taken down there in the corner by Chris Wingert.
Wow. Good
Nicely done
charge
by Chris. Plays it ahead and climbing the back of Devin Sandoval is Morrison.
Big Dev just clearing the cobwebs out.
Yeah, and the one thing I'd like to see from Sandoval is just his touches be a little bit cleaner. He's got good feet, but I think sometimes too much of a heavy touch.
Into the box, Mansali.
He's got to put that ball on the ground.
Plays it too high. Nobody there.
I agree with you. If the ball's not on the deck in that situation, which I think his concern was Cyprian Hedrick had the angle, had the opportunity just to sit in and take away that near post run. But if you're not going to keep it on the deck, you got to keep it under that 6-foot limit. You got to give your strikers an opportunity to get on the end of it.
Got to give some props to the Real Salt Lake fans. A great turnout tonight at Rio Tinto Stadium. Attendance announced as 8,263 RSL fans. Still awaiting our first goal in the 59th minute between Real Salt Lake and Phoenix FC. As the ball rolls back, Antonella will play it forward to Salcedo. Now to Mond, to Sturtzer in the middle. And they'll try this left side with Abdoulaye Mansali. That seems to be, guys, the entrance point, at least to the attack so far in the second half.
Definitely tilted to the left here.
They bring it back this way. Mansali trying to get forward. Gets it to Kari Stevenson, trying to play a little bit of link up here. Back to Abdoulaye. Makes the run for the corner. Good job to keep it in.
Well, you notice Abdoulaye Mansali on that play recognized from the history of challenges coming from Netinho, the outside back, that instead of trying to get that cross in, he dropped his shoulder in early, bumped him off, and then retained that possession. Because Netinho, he's been notorious through the 60 minutes of tonight's match of stepping in, bodying and playing the player as opposed to playing the ball on this right-hand side of the defense for Phoenix.
And guys, you spoke of patience. Plata tried to flick one over the top to Sebastian Velasquez, and had he turned around, he would have noticed Chris Wingert wide open inside the box on the right side. Wingert now with it across midfield into the Phoenix half. Kari Stevenson through to Plata, trying to get it to Devin Sandoval, making the run, and a little bit too far out as Parkinson runs onto it. James Rust, Brian Dunsett, Trey Fitzgerald with you. Glad to have you with us on a beautiful Monday night at Rio Tinto Stadium. We saw some fireworks and the variety of red cards in the first half. Now we're waiting for the goal variety here in the second half. Real Salt Lake playing with 10, Phoenix with 9.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that's you know, I think an argument can be made that what happened at the end of the first 45 minutes is something that happens far too often in American soccer, in reserve league action, in academy action, in national team action. There's a level of accountability that has to be met at certain stages, and sometimes, you know, this me versus you mentality spills over into, you know, some physical confrontations that are just absolutely ridiculous to be seen. And I'm you know, listen, to be a fly in the wall at halftime, I know Jeff Gassar is the head coach of this reserve squad, but I can only imagine if Jason Christ came down there and was a part of that locker room during halftime, and what some of the words would have been coming out of his mouth in terms of, guys, listen, there's over 8,000 people in this stadium who have come to watch you play, and this is the product, and these are the decisions that are going on. It's just got to be better all the way around, and that's what I'm talking about. That level of accountability, it just happens far too often than it should. Once you're getting to a certain level in soccer in the United States.
63rd minute, 0-0. Chris Wingert with a throw in on the far side for Real Salt Lake into John Sturzer. They'll bring it near side. Salcedo crossing midfield to Abdullah Mansali. David Viana getting ready to check in for Real Salt Lake here momentarily as they switch fields back. Right side, Chris Wingert. Trying to get it to Sandoval. Good job of posting up there and keeping the ball. Kari unable to flick it over to Sebastian Velasquez, broke up by Ferreira. Sebastian keeps it in bounds, however. The skill that the kid has with the ball at his feet is sometimes mind-boggling.
Frightening.
You'd like to see his teammates get out of his way a little bit, though, and provide some passing options as opposed to crowding the space that he's dribbling into.
And Solly leaves it for Plata. Still outside the box, trying to get it to Dev at the top of the area. And it's sent out there by Donnie Toya. So far, it looks like that's kind of where Phoenix is setting. I mean, playing a man down, they're now at this point content with just playing defense and clearing their own end.
James, they're content coming in and not giving up goals. I mean, they're content coming in and trying to get a point on the road. I think it's the same mentality that we see week in, week out when teams come here to Rio Tinto Stadium.
Yellow card to Bowen for cleaning out Mansali on that near touchline play.
And it'd have to be expected to some point. Any kind of somewhat harsh foul is going to get a card in this second half based on the first half.
But again, it goes back to I talk about the line. Listen, I'm not trying to be harsh on referees, but they control the pace and the momentum of a game. I'm not asking them to draw the line and ticky-tack fouls. But when you're seeing not excessive, but continual challenges, I call it persistent infringement by committee. When you see those type of things happening, it's up to the referee to harness the situation before players take it into their own hands.
David Viana coming on for João Plata. His night is through in the 65th minute.
And James, now what you're going to see in David Viana is a player that's going to sit more like a true Javier Morales style.
And there's his first touch, a shot just wide of goal.
He's going to sit where you're going to have Devin Sandoval sitting up top by himself. And we were talking about João Plata kind of playing a little bit underneath. David Viana is going to play that role. He's going to play it and be in a much more comfortable situation because that's where he's excelled throughout his time with the Portugal under-17s, the under-20s, and one of the reasons why he was in Atletico Madrid's reserve team for so long.
Rich Balshin also getting ready to come on for Real Salt Lake. Abdoulaye Mensali leaves it back for John Sturzer. Middle of the park is Sebastian Velasquez. Sturzer. Card. David Viana. Good footwork to make space for Mansali. Puts it into the box, looking back post. Sandoval making the run, but a little bit too high from Mansali. Cleaned out for a corner kick for Sebastian Velasquez and Real Salt Lake on the far side. Wind still blowing fairly strong from north to south. Now in the face of Real Salt Lake. Flags down on the field blowing that same direction a bit as well. Velasquez puts it into the box. Ball comes all the way through. Viana able to keep it in. Leaves it for Salcedo, who takes a shot and just high from Carlos Salcedo, looking for that upper V far post.
Yeah, perfectly weighted ball from David Viana, and as that ball comes across his body, Carlos Salcedo lashes across, gets all of it, just can't keep it under the crossbar, but it did beat the keeper.
So a goal kick coming. A bullet dodged by Phoenix FC. Sheldon Parkinson will put it back into play. One in the air by Weber. But it comes to the feet of Kari Stevenson, who looks to get on the attack for Real Salt Lake up this left side.
See the indecision by Viana about what to do with his run.
Cleared out by Hedrick. Kept in play by Salcedo. They'll play it back to Mond, and a little heavy is Obadiah on the push on Sturzer. Quick whistle there, and back into play we go. Mansali. Viana making the corner run. Mansali goes top of the area to Devin Sandoval where it's broken up. Now they'll get it to Viana here on the near side, working into the corner. Some fancy footwork of his own, leaves it for Sturzer.
Yeah, he can dance on the ball. He's just like Sebastian Velasquez.
He'll try another shot from distance and a diving Sheldon Parkinson. Ball was just wide of on frame.
Sorry, Denny, now I'm watching the Phoenix FC coach dance on the sideline, and he is quite demonstrative.
Yeah. Looks like we'll have a couple more substitutions here. Now, correct me, guys. We're playing by the 3 substitution rule, or not here?
We're seeing more.
I'm thinking we're past 3.
Well, now we just saw the substitute Elliot Weber come off, and People Due come on. The number 23. And Rich Balson comes on to replace Abdoulaye Mansali.
Bowen with it. Foul called there on Kari Stevenson. '69th minute. 0-0 remains our score between RSL and Phoenix FC. Morrison set to put it back into play. Headed out by Mond. Sturzer trying to track it down, as is Donnie Toya. Throw in for Phoenix on the far sideline in the RSL half. Trying to slot a ball through to Bowen. A little too far. Antonella picks it up and looks to start the attack for Real Salt Lake. Kari Stevenson gets it to Viana. Up this near side. Viana, triple teamed. Gets it over to Kari Stevenson. Salcedo switches it to Balshin, who's playing on that right side. Wingard is now shifted back to the left side. Viana. Into the Phoenix third. Balshin just outside the area, heavy on his touch, across byline. Goal kick for Phoenix FC. RSL fans still a little bit antsy, waiting for our first goal of the evening. And this, guys, this Phoenix FC team is a team that is known to give up a few goals here earlier in their season. Their losses have been 2-0. They had a 1-0 win over Tampa Bay, and then losses of 3-1 and 3-1 to Orlando and Los Angeles. So Real Salt Lake still trying to crack it here.
Yeah, I think tonight, tactically, they've been very good in terms of keeping the game in front of them.
There's a bad giveaway. Devin Sandoval trying to run onto it. Hendrick gets the first touch, however.
And I think anytime you have Cyprian Hedrick as alongside the Brazilian Renan, who was one of the players red carded in that melee at the end of the first half, I think what you see for them is you have an incredible athleticism and strength at the two center back positions. And you know, from an outside perspective, Danny Toya and Netinho have not been bad at all.
Viana looking for help. Kari Stevenson now. They'll make the switch out to Rich Balshin. It's a very compact 9 players out there for Phoenix FC. Viana leaves it for Wingert. Now to Salcedo, back to Viana. Balshin open on the far sideline, calling for it. He'll play it back to Mon right at the center stripe. 72nd minute. Wingert bringing it up this left side. Gets to Sandoval. Sandoval looking to turn and get a shot on goal. Broken up there. Not yet cleared. And Sebastian Velasquez runs onto it, as Netinho opted to go with the short pass to Bowen rather than clear it out of the area. They'll play it back to Chris Wingert here on the left side, and we'll try it again. Leaves it for Viana. Now to Kari Stevenson. Across the third is Salcedo. Out to Balshin. Trying to break down the defense. He'll send it back to Salcedo.
9-on-9 from 22 in.
Chris Wingert looking to put the clear into the box.
Ooh.
Far post headed back where it came from. And Netinho will clear it out of bounds to the RSL bench.
5 subs in USL play, guys.
5 subs. There's our answer.
Thanks to our man Odin Domingo down in Phoenix.
I was going to say, I didn't realize you were the USL Pro connoisseur.
If we're going to get a team here like the D-News and Salt Lake Tribune are speculating here in another year or two, we're going to have to know those rules.
And we will rely on WikiTray for that.
Who?
Ball into the corner of the box. Devin Sandoval. Hedrick all over him.
Yeah, Hedrick's been good tonight. He's been very, very solid in the back.
As you see right there with the clean takeaway. Now they're going to try to get something going. A little bit too far out of reach there. It rolls back to Antonella. Real Salt Lake will regroup. 74th minute, 0-0. They'll bring it here near side, Chris Wingert. Wingert puts a good ball into the box, and a collision between Devin Sandoval and Sheldon Parkinson, the goalkeeper. Good to see Devin pop right back up. He got clocked. Sebastian.
Wow.
Do we have a foul call?
I don't know. No, offside it looked like.
Yeah,
I don't know
offside.
how Dev just pops right back up.
I'll tell you what, he
got
took that.
cleaned out.
He got that. And
like 2 arms to the face.
Yeah, not that Parkinson Sheldon was going after him at all. It was a good punch, a good clear, but Devin Sandoval took that right on the right temple, right side of his face, and he just got lit up, popped right back up pretty quick. Now Netinho, the outside right back, down behind the play, took a few seconds before he crumbled to the ground. Athletic trainers from Phoenix are going to have to go take a look at him.
Fatigue could be a factor tonight, especially once you get into the fact that it's still early in this Phoenix season. Guys maybe not quite up to their regular midseason form as far as fitness goes. Then you factor in the 2 red cards, and you're now playing with 9 men.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I didn't realize there were 5 subs, but it makes sense because of the short turnaround time and the travel schedule that USL Pro has to deal with. Not easy. It's doing college games. You see so many substitutions in the game. It's kind of hormone soccer. A little bit different tonight, but this is one of those nights where I think the coaching staff for Phoenix FC very thankful that they can make those 5 changes,
absolutely.
Knowing that they had to make an early change because of injury and then have to make another tactical change after losing 2 players to the red card and getting the backup goalkeeper on the field.
You joined us late. Red cards were handed out aplenty in the first half, right before half, as a matter of fact. Kwame Watson-Sirbo shown a red card for Real Salt Lake. That has them playing with 10 men. The starting goalkeeper, Andrew Weber, was shown a red card, as was center back Renan. And that's where we stand with Real Salt Lake playing with 10 versus...
Weber just tweeted that he was victim of a bad call. Just
victim of a bad call.
So.
Okay, so apparently not a rule in USL that players can't tweet from the locker room.
But like I said earlier, when you get caught up in those physical confrontations, it's one thing to protect your players on either side. It's another thing to come in and get your arms up around people's faces and come flying off your line and players running 50 yards at each other. It's what I said. For those that don't know the game, those are the casual fans. They see that type of stuff, and it drives them nuts. It turns them off the game. And, now you're looking at 3 players that are going to be suspended for the next match. For Kwame Watson-Sirbo, he's suspended from an MLS game. So for
it'll be an MLS reserve game. It won't be for the Galaxy game Saturday.
But I'm saying, right. Agreed. And it's going to financially hit his pocket.
Sure.
So it's all unnecessary stuff at the end of the day. I understand the competitive nature, but at some point, common sense also has to come into play in those situations as well.
I just want to be clear with our fans that the reserve competition is different from the league competition.
Substitution made by Phoenix. Natinho comes off on the stretcher. Schmidt now comes on. Reed Schmidt wearing number 2 for Phoenix FC. Salcido trying to play it forward, broken up by Phoenix. And a throw in for Real Salt Lake. Rich Balshin will take it. Still trying to crack the goal in the 78th minute. Scoreless here between RSL and the Phoenix FC Wolves. James Rust, Brian Dunsett, Trey Fitzgerald here with you on the call. Ball played out of reach of Balshin. Jeff Cassar is asking for his guys to move up, and let's see if we can find ourselves our first goal.
Yeah, and I think that it's not to argue what Jeff Cassar's trying to do right here, but it's a very delicate balance in a game like this. You're in the 79th minute. It's 0-0. You're up a man, and based on some of the fresh legs and the adjustments that Phoenix has made, they're competing very well, and tactically they're doing a very good job keeping the game in front of them. But that being said, they've got some breakout speed that is very capable of hitting RSL on the counter.
Kari Stevenson from distance forcing the keeper from Phoenix to make a save, and it was a diving save at that from Sheldon Parkinson, as that one had eyes for the back of the net.
Yeah, and again, it's a one-step strike from Kari Stevenson. It has eyes for the upper right-hand corner of the keeper's goal, and Sheldon just lays out, uses all that 6'4" frame just to parry it over the crossbar.
So a corner kick for Real Salt Lake. Sebastian Velasquez stands over it. Kari Stevenson's the short corner option. Sebastian will play it to him. Kari puts it into the box. On the end of it was Salcedo. Opted to go with the foot rather than the head. Unable to keep it on frame.
Yeah, the hard part in a game like this is now from the coaching staff's perspective from Real Salt Lake is you can't really judge too much on what you're seeing. Offensively, there's going to be disappointment if the score stays 0-0 because you weren't capable of breaking them down despite being the better team, having the better of the chances. But from a shape and a tactic perspective, you really can't take away a lot.
Balshin undecided there on whether to go at it, but he wins the challenge for RSL, and Viana has it here near side center line. Salcedo looks to make the switch. Back out to Balshin on the right side. Ahead is Sebastian. He gets it to him. Sebastian working the sideline, poked out of bounds, throw in RSL.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Carlos Salcedo's distribution, his decision making.
Got a yellow card for dissent here to
our man,
Faria.
Yeah, he didn't like the challenge that came in from Balshin a few seconds ago.
Cross in, header attempted by Kari Stevenson. It's taken out of the air by Sheldon Parkinson. Mond heads it back to Antonella. Now rolls it forward to Balshin. Now at the foot of Sturzer.
Yeah, now tactically, Phoenix dropping just a bit more. They were playing with a flat four with one in front. Now essentially they're playing a flat four with three across with Faria and then Obadai, excuse me.
82nd minute, Sebastian Velasquez has it. Now to Sturzer. Kari Stevenson. A clogged middle of the park as the ball comes wide left side. Chris Wingert chipping into the box, headed out by Morrison. Ooh. Put back in by Salcedo. Sandoval trying to post up. Possession now at Sturzer. Sturzer fires, shot deflected.
It's just a lot of traffic. It's just a lot of traffic. That's what Phoenix FC is doing very, very well right now. Top of the 18-yard box. There's just no clear-cut chances for RSL to get that early shot off without a challenge immediately at the top of the box.
And Dunny, when there's that much congestion there in the middle of the pitch, is your options to go wide and sling them in?
It's why you're seeing, both outside backs, Balshin and Winger, getting up on either side, flank play with Viana and Velasquez in front. The difficulty is the moment that teeter-totter effect happens and the ball's spread out wide, it's got to be a Kari Stevenson or a Carlos Salcedo that's pushing through, and the secondary runs at the top of the box where the ball looks to drop in after that initial header's won.
Winger to Sturzer, back to Winger. In the Phoenix third, Winger just outside the box. Nice job, keeps it on the pitch, and the crossover is broken up there.
Great step.
Good job by Salcedo again. Winger slings it in. Donnie Toya gets ahead on it. Now Sturzer, they'll switch fields. Balshin, can he keep it in? He can. 83rd minute and scoreless. Sebastian Velasquez just outside the box, trying to get to his left foot, sizing it up, and mishit that one.
Might stay in.
But it does stay in for David Viana. Good job to keep it in. Sebastian making the run. He'll flick to Sturzer. Kari Stevenson hits it. As that was maybe, he wants that one back. That was the
cleanest one. Yeah, that was the cleanest one he's had. The best look, uncontested, top of the 18-yard box, and he lashed at it, and it just spun off the outside of his right foot.
Goes well wide to the right. And a goal kick for Phoenix as the keeper Parkinson puts it back into play. 84th minute now.
Will the inspiration come from?
Where's the goal? Do you have a prediction, Trey?
Big Dev.
Big Dev. Viana with it in front of the RSL bench. Pushed off by Toya, but he gets it to Wingert. Wingert's going to make the switch out to Balshin. Runs it down nicely. Now to Sebastian. Sebastian trying to get on his left foot. Leaves it for Salcedo. Into the final third. Balshin. Salcedo trying to chip over. Ball broken up there.
Good step.
Good job by Mon to keep it in play. Now cleared out by Schmidt.
When you're playing against the Wolves, James, you got to bet on a Lobo.
Ah, very nicely done.
Made me want to throw up in my mouth.
Yeah, as the player goes down for the Wolves.
Yeah, Travis Bowen, he took that heavy challenge from Aaron Mon just a second ago, and I think he was going to be the substitution out anyways, as number 18, Ramos Thomas, getting set to come in.
Nice to see Tyson Pace and the stretcher crew tonight.
one-man stretcher crew.
I mean, you never want to see the stretcher crew, but I just mean it's good to see Tyson working.
Getting in on the action. 85th minute. We've already seen one Phoenix FC player come off via stretcher. That was Natinho. Bowen still down on the pitch. Devin Sandoval runs over to the RSL bench to get a little instruction from Coach Jeff Cassar. Bowen up now under his own power. And we'll have to wait and see if in fact Thomas Ramos will be that substitution for Bowen. I got to be honest, it's only 2 more substitutions, but it seems so much more difficult to keep track of 5 substitutions versus 3. It just seems to me like Phoenix has made more than 5 substitutions,
Well,
but I could be wrong.
the red cards may have thrown
That's true.
a wrench into all that.
Bowen walking gingerly to the sideline, favoring heavily that left leg. And he will be the substitution. Off comes Travis Bowen, and on comes Thomas Ramos.
Probably another 6 or 7 minutes, including stoppage.
Yeah, as we're into the 87th minute now. Real Salt Lake with possession. Chris Wingert with the ball. Gets it into the Phoenix half. Viana. Viana to Sandoval. Heavy on the touch. Ramos. Now Schmidt's able to clear for Phoenix. Antonelli gets it quickly to Mond. Salcedo center circle. Viana calling for it here on the near side. Chris Wingert now. Gets it to Viana. And the Wolves third. Cuts back to his right foot. Puts it into the box. Still in the box. Headed and grabbed out of the air by Parkinson. Gets difficult when you've got that many fluorescent jerseys there in the box to try to cross it in and get something to happen. RSL hoping for one to maybe bounce their way. 88th minute. 0-0. Salcedo. They'll try the right side this time. Rich Balshin. Poked out of bounds by Donny Toya. Throw in RSL into Salcedo. Switches it to Wingert here near side. Now David Viana. Viana splits. Top of the box. Salcedo deflected off the back of Donny Toya. Balshin puts it into the box. A diving Parkinson as he was looking for Sebastian Velasquez.
Not a bad ball from Balshin there.
89th minute, scoreless. Parkinson puts it into play, high. Big bounce, and Chris Wingert will bring it down. Plenty of time. Velasquez will switch it to the right side to Balshin. Kari Stevenson. The fans starting to get a little antsy. Viana asking for it. Ball comes to Wingert. Now Sebastian into the final third. Dev gets a touch. Viana. Stevenson. They'll play it in the middle. Salcedo now brings it out wide to Chris Wingert.
Again, the balance of Phoenix FC is very, very good.
Wingert, right-footed ball to Salcedo. Now Balshin just outside the box. Corner of the area, now top of the area, Sebastian trying to get to the left foot, leaves it for Wingert. Now they'll try this left side with Viana. Nice cut back into the box. Crosses into the middle. Sturzer was there. As it looked like Devin Sandoval made the dummy run, let it go through to Sturzer, and maybe caught maybe caught John Sturtzer a little bit by surprise.
Yeah, Viana does a very good job isolating that big cutback, catches the defender, does a little flyby, gets to the byline, outside the right foot, chopped back in, came in quick.
Chris Wingert tries one from distance, and about 3 feet high was Chris Wingert as we're into the 90th minute.
Yeah, it's really been the story, shots from distance tonight. We've seen some good looks from Wingert, Kari Stevenson, as well as Carlos Salcedo, all on target, seemingly beating the goalkeeper. Just can't keep it underneath the crossbar. And now the goalkeeper, Sheldon Parkinson, a little bit surprising, both goalkeepers, Andrew Weber and Sheldon Parkinson, not taking their goal kicks tonight. Parkinson stretching out, looks like a hip flexor.
5 minutes of stoppage.
5 minutes of added time here. As Faria has possession for Phoenix, and he'll just play it ahead to the corner. Antonella runs out to get it and get it back into play for Real Salt Lake.
$8,263 people looking to warm up with a goal.
A goal would do it. It only takes one at this point. Chris Wingert with the ball at his feet in front of the RSL bench.
Yeah, I think one of the positives you take away from tonight is the fact that Chris Wingert going 90 minutes and looking very, very sharp tonight.
Balshin into the final third. Top of the area. Good job by Phoenix to break it up.
Good touch.
Salcedo chipping over the top. Devin Sandoval thought better of that. He already had a collision and got the taste of Sheldon Parkinson. He let Parkinson clean that one up easily. Ball back in play. It'll roll all the way back to Antonella. Big thumbs up from the coaching staff of Phoenix, saying that's what we're trying to do, just kill some time a little bit.
And that's what the second 45's been. When you're down to 9 men, you just got to clear pressure.
Viana, beautiful move into the box, leaves it for Sebastian. Can he get his shot off? Sebastian's shot goes wide. You got to put that one on frame.
Well, Anthony Obadai does a very, very good job right here, because while the link up and the combination between Viana and Sebastian Velasquez is first rate, Obadai does just enough sitting on that right hip where Sebastian Velasquez can't turn that corner, can't turn his body, can't keep the shot on frame, and he does it without committing the foul. Very, very important defending right there from Obadai. If he does not defend that well, it's 1-0 Real Salt Lake.
Literally, your only option as a defender playing from behind is to push into that hip, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, we saw Tony Beltran do it a couple weeks ago here at home, and it's causing havoc defensively while not committing the foul.
They'll sling it back here wide left side. Viana. He's been good to break his man down. Ball into the box, headed back out by Morrison. Salcedo will try one from distance, and it goes wide. Sandoval trying to get a foot on it to deflect.
Yeah, and Viana's unlike, well, I guess he's similar to Velasquez, but he's unlike a lot of players in Major League Soccer. He wants to dance, he wants to step over, he wants to create space. And I'll tell you, while some fans will watch that and say, dude, chill out with the stepovers, what it does is a defender, when you see a guy is that good and is that fluid with the ball at his feet,
with it,
and he starts dancing a little bit, you're going to back off. And that's going to not only give him more time and space, but it's going to allow overlapping runs to get around him as Viana's playing on this left-hand side. When he settles that ball and he picks his foot up and he starts pulling it back and forth, you're not really sure what he's going to do. That's a couple seconds for Wingert to get on his horse and look to overlap.
Mond with it now to Sturtzer. Balshin as they try it from the right side. Cross comes
Early
in.
ball.
Morrison knocks it over the byline for a corner kick.
And Trey, you make a good point. I think one of the things that's lacking in American soccer is that early service.
Just that
from
one-touch
deep.
service from the corner. Right?
Crowd trying
just
to get
mix
into
up the look.
We're a bit into stoppage time. Sebastian, left foot in. Mond, cleared out by Morrison. Not all the way, however. Viana, back to Sebastian. Can RSL get a late goal? Sebastian to the byline, and it's kept out by Faria for another corner kick. Short corner, Kari Stevenson. Chipping it in. Header. Schmidt tries to clear it. Wingert Now has it for RSL. Quickly into Mon. Mon dispossessed by Schmidt. A little bit out of sorts there. Antonella comes up quickly to keep it in play.
And again, Phoenix is doing a very good job. You know, they're sitting in, and that balance they have defensively, they've done a very, very good job in the second 45 minutes defending.
Viana to Wingert. Puts it into the box.
Too much.
Oh. Across the end line for a goal kick. The time is now the ally for Real Salt Lake, ticking away.
And just disappointing again. You go back to those 3 red cards that end the first 45 minutes, and it changes everything of what this game could have been. You know, give Phoenix FC a lot of credit because, you know, down 2 men, they've done a good job sitting in, defending, competing, clearing. But it's not a game. It's a fitness drill, and that's the disappointing side of what transpired in the final moments of the first half.
Throw in RSL. There was 5 minutes of stoppage time. We've got to be getting close.
That's it.
There it is. The center official blows his whistle, and that's our final score. Real Salt Lake unable to find the back of the net tonight versus Phoenix FC. And we finish 0-0. And our 8,263 fans who stuck it out. Got a little chilly here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Some chances were there for RSL, but ultimately unable to capitalize on the 2 red cards shown to Phoenix FC. Kwame Watson-Sirabo shown a red card of his own. So that final 45 minutes, 10-on-9, and Dunny, to your point, it turns into not necessarily a soccer game, but more of a soccer drill. And Phoenix FC ultimately won out on the drill, getting the 0-0 draw.
And you give Phoenix FC credit. When you lose 2 players, you're forced with early substitutions because of injury. Then you got to bring another player off the field to get your goalkeeper on the field after the red cards to Renan as well as Andrew Weber. It changes the complexion. It changes the exercise. It turns into an exercise as opposed to a game. From a fitness perspective, it was good to see Chris Wingert go the 90 minutes. I think Kari Stevenson was solid. Velasquez did a lot of good. Not a lot of players hurt themselves in terms of their standing tonight. But again, you really can't take anything out of this game outside the first 30 minutes because the entire idea of this match and allowing players to earn that spot to step up to the first team, maybe knock on the door of the starting 11, it just goes out the window when you're seeing 3 red cards to end the first half.
We're going to hop out to a break. We'll come back, give a couple final thoughts, and wrap this thing up. James Rust, Brian Dunseth, Trey Fitzgerald, Real Salt Lake, and Phoenix FC play to a 0-0 draw tonight at Rio Tinto Stadium here on ESPN 700.
It's springtime on the Wasatch Front, and your local Utah Toyota dealer is having their once-a-year spring clearance event. Right now, get great lease deals, low APRs, and incredible cashback offers on all your favorite Toyotas, like 0% APR financing with $1,667 per thousand borrowed on a new 2013 Camry or Corolla, or $1,000 cash back on a new 2012 Prius Liftback or new 2013 Venza. Plus, take advantage of our huge inventory of SUVs and trucks, like and 4Runners.
I know David was hoping we could be out by 10 after.
Well, sorry, but by like 8 minutes, so by 15 after.
Dealer, or for more information, please log on to Toyota.
So I would try and keep about a 5-minute segment probably.
Last year I
Can you do that at least?
changed my life. I swore I wouldn't still be in this dead-end job.
Perfect.
This year it's going to be different. I'm taking
There wasn't a lot of highlights that you noticed, were there?
College in Salt Lake City.
Okay, I'm just putting them together, and I'm not seeing a ton of highlights that I pulled together, so I'm just making sure I'm not slacking off.
Salt Lake City.
Take action to become a happier, more design, business, or technology fields. And Stevens Henniger College just announced $6 million in new scholarship awards for adults like you. For full details on scholarships and eligibility, visit.
So I got about 4 or 5. Does that sound about right?